babies. Good morning to you. And hey, this is your wake-up call, babies. Right here on the Coyote Medicine Show. Coyote Medicine in the morning. Right here on the Hazy Radio Network with your host, Grandpaw Peter Coyote. Helping you take flight right into the sunrise in your heart, man. Right into the great daylight. It's coming right up, babies. Do you feel that warmth inside? Do you feel that love? Do you feel like you're going to take a really nice ride today, man? Do you think it's finally happening for you? I think it is, babies. I think we're all right here doing it to it, babies. Ooh, I just want to be your everything, man. Them good old Bee Gees, that good old, what's his name, Andy Gibb, man. Wow. What's his name, man? I tell you what, I'm slipping for an old rock and roller, man. I'm a strumming and strolling in my mind. I tell you, man, I just roam around a bit too much. I forget everybody's name. It's a good thing I got stuff written down here and there somewhere. You know, I can look on the screen and see the name of a song and kind of figure out who it is. Though it don't always work, man. Babies, we just going to have some fun this morning here on Coyote Medicine in the Morning with your old host, Grandpa Peter Coyote, right here from Crestonia, Colorado, man, 9,000 feet high, and we fly. Now, I've been hearing that song all night long in my mind, in my heart. For some reason, old Andy Gibb been singing to me all night about, I just want to be your everything. And, man, when I saw that on my list this morning, it just jumped right out at me. It says, you got to play me. I says, okay. But we had to do like lime in the coconut first, you know, so we could get on. Doctor, can you something I can take to relieve my belly ache? And I said, no, you can't take nothing, babies. You just got to quit being silly and doing that lime in the coconut shit. You understand? So we got heavy metaphors going on. First song this morning. I just love it, babies. It is a great morning to be alive here in this good old Turtle Island here in this Estados Unidos and Mexico and Canada and Alaska and all these places, man. You know, we're spreading it out here on this old continent. All the way down to Argentina and Fuego del Taro or whatever that is down there on the southern tip of the southern Mexico. Yeah, I think Mexico annexed South America. You guys in trouble now. The cartel's taking over, man. Babies, this is a little point I want to make. You know, now I do consider myself to be Mary Jane's right-hand man and sometimes jokingly refer to myself as the Pope of Pot, right? Yeah. So, man, we got to, like, you know, pay some respect to this girl, you know, this magical plant that has done so much for us and apparently can do so much more now that we're finally researching it a bit. Gee whiz, guys. I tell you, brainwashing can be pretty heavy duty, man. I remember when I was a kid and they brought this movie to school. I was about 16 or 15 or something. And they brought this movie to school. Now, I understand I was growing up in Utah, which is like, wow, isolated, and had its own little thing going on. So it was a pretty uptight culture, you know. But anyway, so they brought this old movie to school, man. And this dude took a toke on this thing called marijuana. And, wow, the dude was lost. He was out there going crazy with all the ladies. And you know, the next thing you know, he was like, you know, he did some real violent things or something. And that was the end of him, man. And, boy, we didn't ever want to touch that marijuana stuff. You know, that looked like that was worse than heroin, man, you know, and heroin was really, really bad. I remember when I was a kid and first saw somebody trying to shoot up with a needle. I was going to join the circus, but the boss was shooting up and I left. I didn't even know what the hell that was. All I knew, I do not like needles, man. I want to be as far from them as I can be. Thank goodness Mary Jane doesn't require that of you. So we got to pay our proper respects to this lady, man. You know, she does nice things for us, you know. And down there in California now, you know, I got a lot of friends all over the place, so I hear things from everywhere. You know what I mean? And wow, down there in California, these Mexican cartels are taking over the marijuana growing down there. And that just isn't right that we let anybody have a monopoly on anything, babies. So, you know, when you go to get your weed, consider where it came from, man, and just be like, you know, feel the energy of it if you don't know the history of it, because likely you don't. But just put your hand out when you're in kind of a conscious state. You know, you feel your heart, you feel that love coming up. You feel that energy in your third eye and your hands and stuff. You know, you can be that way anywhere you want to be and do that intuitive thing anywhere you want and call it intuitive. Hell, it's far more than that. It's being in the flow, man. But you can do that anywhere you want to go. So, man, when you're buying your weed, you go down to the dispensary or to your neighborhood crackhead or whoever it is that's, you know, handling your weed, man. You vibe it out, man, you know. Just don't buy it from the... You know, back in the day when marijuana really did first come around and found me, I think I was about 19. I was a slow bloomer, man. I was busy in my childhood. So, man, 19, that stuff finds me and just takes me to paradise, man. A few tokes on that stuff. First time was nothing, of course. You know, your body says, what? You want me to wake up? Second time was magic. And babies, all of a sudden I began to understand questions that had been puzzling me since I was a tiny child. I began to see different levels of it. My mind, my heart, I didn't realize that, but my heart was opening up so that my mind could see beyond the conceptions of the physical reality, you know, and really understand, begin to understand. It's the beginning of a long journey, but begin to understand what's really going on in life. And, you know, I've been with her ever since, so I did quit her for a number of years back there in the 80s because I wanted to see how the straight life was. It wasn't much fun. But by then, you know, she had taken me far enough that I could still travel the realm and I didn't have to have her assistance, you know. I realized that in that time, but at the same time, boy, when she was there with me, everything was right, and it got a whole lot deeper, far more expansive, you know. So after a while, I realized, you know, what a fool I'd been to let it go, and I got back into it again, you know, and wow, life got good again, and I began to relax and grow a whole lot more. In fact, that was one of the most significant times of my life when I really did turn around big time. You know, well, spirits turned me around, really, you know. There was just a lot of work going on with this old man. I was living way back in the mountains, hidden away from everybody. But MaryJane was like right there with me, man. She was like the creative heart inside. Just, you know, got me up and got me going for that long ride that took you to death and back and brought you back to life, man. You know, she was a real good companion on that journey. I'll tell you, without her, there wouldn't be Grandpa Coyote sitting here talking to you today, I'm telling you. She saved my life more than once, but in that instance specifically, she was a great aid. I don't credit her with the whole thing, but babies, I don't know where I'd have been without her. She was, you know, my helper, my friend. She's my connection to the spirit realm, man. You know, she opened up that gateway for me, you know, and babies, I honor her ever since. So let's try and keep this old business as personal as we can, keep it down to as small a scale as we can. You know, I know there's a lot of money, and you got to remember that pot is not a business. MaryJane does not want to be sold. She ain't a hooker, you know what I mean? She wants to be shared with everyone so that they too can go through a similar experience if this is what they need. Not everybody does, but most people can use it, let me tell you. So you want to be on track with old MaryJane, and you want to be right with her in your heart when you're smoking her or participating her in her, however you do. If you're using her to heal your cancer, well, hey, more power to you, babies. You know, it's rocking today, man, just a rocking. So do that, but do it with great respect, you know, and just show your love for this amazing miracle that's been so misaligned through the last 100 years, you know. Wow. I mean, you got to think about it. George Washington, Tom Jefferson, folks like that way back when were growing this stuff routinely. So why in the hell does it, you know, become such a big criminal thing now? You know, it's stupid. Thank goodness that we've legalized this stuff here in Colorado. I was so happy to be back in my little quote-quote home state, my adopted home state of Colorado, when this stuff was legalized. I actually did. I mean, I hardly ever go vote, but I did that time, man. I wanted to vote for weed, man. And I was so happy. Of course, I knew it was going to pass. In this state, I couldn't do anything but, because, heck, you know, farmers out there toking jays out there in the eastern part of Colorado when they're, you know, out there disking up their hard old dry land farms and stuff, planting that wheat. You know, everybody in this state smokes dope. Everybody. including the governor. When I say dope, I mean Mary Jane, nothing else. You know, we don't do the chemical. Well, a lot of folks do, but I personally do not do chemical derivatives any longer. I only do the pure natural shit. You know, if it's organic, give me it. I do that. And we'll talk about some other substances at some other time, like mushrooms and so forth. You know, there's a real interesting journey there, but because they're still kind of an illegal substance in a lot of places, it's touchy territory, you know. But you have to understand, these things are not just recreational. These are spiritual. This is the journey of your lifetime, man. And these plants and fungi are here to help us along, man. And, you know, there is no crime in wanting to know yourself and wanting to know this earth and this life a little better. There's no crime in taking a little journey. You know, sometimes it'll really help you, you know, straighten things out. But you want to be careful, you know, and make sure you're in a good space. Whenever you're participating in MaryJane or anything else, well, MaryJane will help you get in a good space, you know. And it's probably all you really need to get you there and get you right. I don't think you need anything else. You know, you can make some mighty fine edibles with her. You know, I've learned how to do a little of that, and there's people around, wow, that can get that stuff, you know, suspended in an oil and then bake it into cakes and cookies and donuts and all kinds of things, man. And just, wow, you wouldn't even know it was there till you start to smile a little bit 10 minutes later. You know? An hour later, you're journeying through the realm, man. Just because somebody shared a little piece of cake with you. It's awesome, man. You know, there are so many ways to enjoy the essence of MaryJane. And see, this is what you do. And ultimately, of course, we get to the place as we expand in consciousness, where, you know, that it's not necessary to smoke it or eat it or do anything else with it. It's just, you just put out your hand and say, ain't it really grand? And baby, there's the energy, you know, shared with you, you know, the essence of that essential high that takes you there and opens up your heart and lets you start seeing things in a whole different light. That's what we're talking about today. A whole different light. Seeing things in a whole different light. So you can understand what in the hell is going on here, babies, in this reality we call life, Mother Earth. Wow. Well, we're here to end all the strife, put an end to all the pain. And babies, you can't beat a helper that's named MaryJane, man. Now, you just can't. So you got to be with her. She got to. I mean, MaryJane. I realized the other day as I was telling a little story here on the Old Medicine Show, I realized that MaryJane had been an essential part of my life since I was like 5 years old. That energy had always been around me. The energy of that name, MaryJane, and the persons that wear it. It's like, wow, she was my first sweetheart when I was 5 years old. I took her home from Sunday school and told everybody we were getting married, baby. We're going to do the rock down thing, you know. It was fun. But MaryJane, you know, has been a part of my life ever since then. So it was real interesting that she comes along in green form many years later. And then, after a while, she had to test me out for 40 years or so. And after a while, she decided that I could be her right-hand man, you know. And I said, baby, anything I can do in service of you, I'll do. And she said, rockin' dude, we're going to have a good time. And you know what? We have ever since then. Here's a shout out to my old friend Chris out there in Ashland, Oregon. Hey, I miss you, baby. I hope you're having a great time out there. She and I used to go down swimming on the Applegate River, just have an awesome old time. And you can't beat that. Open air, fresh, clean, cold water to swim in, you know, and these big old granite warm rocks, kind of smooth surfaced in places where you could just go lay there in the sun and get it all back together again. And of course, what are you doing while you're there? You're toking down a little MaryJane and having a great time, man. She-oot. This is life rocking in the fast lane. And I'm telling you, you know. But there you are, as relaxed can be, enjoying God and nature and MaryJane. And wow, the sun just soaks into you. And you become one with the sun and earth and sky and water and the rocks. Wow. I tell you, those are powerful moments, babies. And it's good to have those to remember, because it helps you those moments helped you get through the ones that weren't so damn pleasant, you know. The energy of those good moments, those deep connections, the opening to the divine. And I know a lot of you have not had experience like this because you haven't had the opportunity to be in such wild and remote places. and enjoy such pure and natural things. There's very little of it left on old Turtle Island, though a lot of it's coming back. We have cleaned up our act a bunch over here, and boy, just wait till we're done with this transition. Hoo-wee, paradise, babies. All this pollution gone. But that's another story, and we'll get to it here in a while. It's just onward and upward here on the Coyote Medicine Show. I think I'm going to go find a rock above the river and take me a dive into some cold water, or jump into some cold water. Wow. Well, you always research before you do that. Make sure there's no rocks you're going to get snagged on right under the surface. You got to check for that. And, just make sure the area is clear and all that stuff. And then you can do a little of that. But I got to remember, the last time, man, I must have been, what? But anyway, somewhere there in my middle ages, I was up on this rock 35 feet above the water on the Illinois River, which is in southern Oregon too. And wow, I just looked at it and says, you know what? That's a little too tall for me. I'm getting to where I don't want to do that now. And I climbed down, got on one that was 15, 20 feet above the water, and that was just right. And take my dive in. And of course, wow. There's nothing like the exhilaration of diving into a clear, cold stream like that, especially a river that's meandering along like that, all those soft little currents around. That sucker can be 200 feet deep in places, It's pretty amazing. And just the feeling of being in that water, of absorbing not just the water energy, but the sun energy, the sky energy, the earth energy. I mean, wow. You're like the center of the universe, It's so refreshing to be in such places, and to be able to do that, because, wow, it's not everywhere in this country any longer where you can, or even across this earth. Man, there's so much pollution in this reality. It's just unfrickin' real. But, of course, how we doing about that? We overcoming the pollution inside, babies. We'll get the outside. It'll be an easy ride, So that's what we're working on today. Letting the light in, man. Being a part of the sunshine of your own life, man. Being the sunshine in your life. Being the sunrise this morning as it rises up. Babies, let's take a little sip of coffee here, man. Beautiful night here last night. Wasn't too cold, man, just right for sleeping. And wow, it's amazing, man. I've been staying up all night doing that medicine show, and now I'm back on what I would consider more of a regular schedule for me, considering my farmer, rancher, and trucker background, Cowboy from the word go. I always liked the wee hours of the day, I like to watch cities come back to life. I like to watch the country come back to life. I like to watch life come back to life. I like to feel it. I like to just be there in it and watch it happening, After that, well, heck, it's just not as much fun, but I sure like these wee hours of the day. And babies, sitting here having a cup of coffee, hanging around the campfire with old Grandpa, you can't beat it, can you? Well, it'd be nice if there, about a dozen other people here right now this morning, baby, we'd be going nuts, wouldn't we? So babies, respect our old MaryJane, man, trade with friends, share with friends, Remember, she's here to give. Love gives, love gives, love gives. Love doesn't take. So let's put some good energy down to those cartel folks while we're at it, and help them get over it too, man, so they don't feel like they have to own and control everything. Let them, feel the resonance of their own life inside, their heart waking up. And babies, we can change their attitudes, and the guns and knives will go away, and the insanity of stealing from your friends will no longer be practiced in the marijuana business. It becomes so corrupt it started pretty corrupt because it was all underground and there's heavy energy around it. So, wow, there was a lot of craziness because of the money involved, a lot of craziness. It's a smaller scale thing now than it was even then. Big time operations then. And I suppose they're coming back, because I'm sure the big money's got to have their investment, blah, blah, blah. But babies, we can sidetrack the whole thing just by being loving in our practice and respectful but towards the energy of the weed, and purify the energy of it even as you, in other words, bless it. Even as you go to token, man. Just treat it with reverence and respect. And babies, you'll be amazed at the real effect. You understand what I mean, Jelly Bean? You're catching on, or you're not being fenced in, or them fences falling down and you're seeing beyond your little boxcar. Oh, wow, man. Don't fence you in. Don't do anything. We got it. It's an old country song from way back when, and it's perfect for right now in this moment in time, baby. Ooh, I still just want to be your everything, and I hope you want to be my everything, too, because, babies, we're all in it together here. The Coyote Medicine Show, Coyote Medicine in the morning, with your host, Grandpa Peter Coyote, baby. Oh, wow. Right here on the Hazy Radio Network. Does it get better than this? Well, of course, we're just getting started, babies. Good morning to you, the old coyote singing to the sunrise, right here on the Hazy Radio Network. You betcha, baby.
Don't think so. And then along comes Mary. And does she want to set them free and let them see reality from where she got a name? And will they struggle much until they touch her to the touch of her? Will make them not the same. When we went out to show out to lunch, now my empty cup is as sweet as the punch.